Welcome, friends, students, neighbors, all you audience members who are here for today's episode of Fraction Feud. Now, I will tell you that we have had a winner in Fraction Feud. That was not me. As a matter of fact, my student Darcy, fifth grader at Jefferson, sent me a note that she was able to beat me in our feud as far as completing the problems faster than me last time. So, let's give everybody a big shout out to Darcy. Woo, woo, woo! And, Darcy, this is the moment you've been waiting for to find out what you win. And Darcy, for beating the teacher in Fraction Feud, you are going to win, drum roll, absolutely nothing. Woo! Except, of course, the satisfaction of knowing that you beat your teacher. Now, for today's Fraction Feud, we're going to be looking at this problem right here. What is the sum of 4 3/10 and 2 4 100ths? Now, you have to be familiar with the language of mathematics in order to know what to do. And way back in first grade, you were learning what this word right here means. When you are finding the sum of something, you are adding it. It's been a little while since we had our unit on adding fractions, but I want you to think back to step 1, is we are always going to write it vertically. Now, the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to ask, are the denominators the same? No, that leads us to more work. The next question we're going to ask is, will the lower denominator go into the higher denominator? Is 10 times something 100? Yes, it is. That means that 100 is going to be what we call our common denominator. What did I multiply 100 by to get 100? 1. Whatever you do to the denominator, you do the same thing to the numerator. What did I multiply 10 by to get 100? 10. Whatever I do to the denominator, I do to the numerator. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to come back over here and I'm going to add my whole numbers. 4 plus 2 is 6. I'm going to come over here and get my answer of 6 34/100ths. This is one of your questions that was on your benchmark exam. And 6 34/100ths was the answer choice that they had that you should have chosen. Excuse me, yes, I have an audience member here who has something to add. Hey everybody, it's Joe here from the planet of no math. Joe, what can we do for you? You know, I was really listening when you were teaching us how to add fractions. I'm really glad you've really learned a lot. And I know that even though that silly test said that was the final answer, that's not really the final answer. No, it's not. How did you know that it wasn't? Well, 34 and 100 are both even numbers, so I know that 2 will go into them. Okay, so you're telling me that you know that 2 will go into both of these, which is the same thing as dividing them by 2. Is that correct? Affirmative. Okay, so now I like to think a division problem is multiplication. Me too. So I'm going to be thinking 2 times what number is 34? And that would be 17. And 2 times what number is 100 would be 50. So the actual real final answer would be 6 17/50. So if this were me working on the test, I would have solved it first, and I would look to see if it had 6 34/100ths as an answer choice. And if it did, I would pick that one. However, if it had 6 17/50ths as an answer choice, that would be your final answer because that's in lowest terms. Joe, thank you so much for coming up from the audience and telling us about the lowest term. Yes, I hope all of you worked that out in your math journal along with Mrs. Salyer, so you will be learning how to do it. Please join us for the next episode of Fraction Feud. Thank you, Joe. I'm glad you're so excited. You can go back to your seat now in the audience. So stay tuned for more about fractions. I think next time we'll have a problem and it's going to be a race. It's going to be a feud to see who can solve it first. Me, or maybe a member of my audience, and you, my RCL audience. Thanks for tuning in to today's show, and be sure to learn all the mathematics that you can.